No one despised him more than Dale Robertson. Born was Dale Robertson, Hara, Oklahoma, to Dale Lemoyne Robertson on July 14, 1923. His childhood in the rough American Midwest shaped his grounded nature and the inherent grit that would serve him well in Western roles. Growing up in the midst of the Great Depression instilled in Robertson a strong work ethic. He came from humble beginnings, where learning to ride horses and being self-reliant were commonplace. In due time, these traits would carry over on a screen, endearing him to viewers as an authentic performer. Robertson had a distinguished military career before his Hollywood career began. He joined the United States Army and served with the 322nd Combat Engineer Battalion, rising through the ranks to become a second lieutenant. He served with the 101st Cavalry and later transferred to the 332nd Combat Engineer Battalion. Although he received multiple military decorations, Robertson did sustain 2 wounds while serving his country. His bravery and stoicism were both enhanced by his time in the military, which he brought to his screen persona. Even before he became famous on television, Robertson was widely regarded as a true hero by those who knew him well. Robertson did not plan to pursue acting as soon as he returned from the war. His foray into the entertainment industry was more of a lucky break. He had a self-portrait shot while he was in the hospital so he could give it to his mom. Talent agents noticed him in the photo and thought he had the rugged good looks and charisma that casting directors were always looking for. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, he landed his first small film roles thanks to this surprising turn of events that Robertson's career really took off when he became linked to the Western genre, a style of cinema and television that was immensely popular during that time. Tales of Wells Fargo, which aired from 1957 to 1962 on television, was his most recognizable role. He portrayed the heroic, fair, and resilient special agent Jim Hardy in the film. The show stood out from other era westerns thanks to Robertson's natural horsemanship and stoic presence, which created an atmosphere of realism. Robertson became a beloved figure in American households as millions of viewers tuned in each week. The stories of Wells Fargo weren't the end of Robertson's successful career in cinema and television. He co-starred with A-list Hollywood actors in films like Sitting Bull, 1954, Return of the Texan, 1952, and Dakota Incident, 1956. His long acting career and versatility were on display in his guest spots on shows like Dynasty and Dallas in the 1980s, as well as his lead roles in other TV series, such as Iron Horse, 1966 to 1968. Although he is most known for his work in westerns, he proved he could adapt to roles in a variety of genres and time periods by refusing to be limited to just one. Robertson remained firmly rooted in the Western tradition after joining the main cast of Law of the Lawless in 1964. In the mid-1960s, he kept working as an actor, voicing cowboy heroes in animated features like 1965's The Man from Buttonwillow and starring in European crime dramas like 1960 SXS The One-Eyed Soldiers. His adaptability and eagerness to try new things in his career were on full display in these projects. The long-running anthology series Death Valley Days was Robertson's new undertaking in 1968. Being a natural storyteller and having the opportunity to introduce and narrate dramatic tales from the history of the United States frontier made him an ideal host for the program. .2 television movies, Melvin Purvis, Man, 1974, and The Kansas City Massacre, 1975, portrayed real-life FBI agent Melvin Purvis, and allowed Robertson to expand his range once again in the 1970s. Many critics lauded Robertson's intense and realistic portrayal of Purvis as he fought notorious gangsters like Pretty Boy Floyd and John Dillinger in these films. After landing the role of Walter Lancashire in the pilot episode of Dynasty in 1981, Robertson broke into the primetime soap opera industry. Robertson was introduced to a new generation of viewers through his one-season role on the show, which went on to become a television phenomenon. He kept up his regular TV work for another 2 years, appearing in a pilot for Big John in 1983. As the titular character, a rich Texan who gave up his business empire for a life of crime-solving, he starred in the 1987 NBC crime drama J.J. Starbucks. Robertson brought the character of J.J. Starbucks to life with his witty banter and oversized sense of humor. Despite the show's brief run, it made a significant impact on his devoted fan base. Robertson continued to be active even as his career came to a close. He appeared in 2 episodes of the comedy drama series Hearts of the West, which starred Beau Bridges and Lloyd Bridges in late 1993 and early 1994. As a fitting finale to a career spanning nearly half a century, Robertson returned to the Western genre that had defined his work for the majority of that time with these appearances. With 4 marriages that spanned different periods of his life, Dale Robertson's personal life was just as interesting and eventful as his career in Hollywood. In 1951, he wed Frederica Jacqueline Wilson for the first time. Robertson was a Western industry rising star at the time, so their union garnered attention. Despite the fact that Robertson's marriage to his wife ended in divorce in 1956, the year they welcomed a daughter together, making him a father for the first time, was significant in his life. Their marriage may have ended, but the bond they shared through their child will last a lifetime, and he maintained his dedication to being a parent despite the long hours and frequent travel required by his job. Robertson wed actress Mary Murphy in 1956, not long after his first marriage ended. The public was interested in the marriage of 2 prominent figures in the entertainment industry. Murphy was most recognized for her role opposite Marlon Brando in 1953's The Wild One. Nevertheless, their marriage was short-lived, as it ended in annulment that very year. The couple may have been swept away by the glamorous lifestyle of Hollywood and entered into their relationship too quickly, given the brief duration of their marriage. Because of the annulment, the marriage was essentially null and invalid from a legal standpoint. However, it is worth noting that Robertson's personal history includes this incident, which underscores the difficulties actors frequently encounter when trying to maintain a balance between their personal stability and the demands of fame. Robertson wed Lula Mae Robertson in 1959, marking a new chapter in his love life. The longevity of this union was significantly higher. It lasted for nearly 20 years, until 1977 that he had 2 daughters with Lula Mae, expanding his family. Robertson frequently said in interviews that his family was more important to him than his career, and he was known to be extremely dedicated to his children. His marriage to Lula Mae occurred during a period of great professional success, when he was starring in hit TV shows like Iron Horse and Tales of Wells Fargo. Even though he was under a lot of pressure to keep up his reputation as a tough leading man, he treasured his time as a husband and father. But another lengthy chapter in his personal life came to a close when, after 18 years of marriage, they filed for divorce. With Susan Robbins as his 4th and last wife, Robertson tied the knot in 1980. Until Robertson's death in 2013, this marriage lasted the longest at 33 years. In addition to being Robertson's life partner, Susan, who was much younger than him, provided stability and companionship in his twilight years. Robertson, seeking refuge from the relentless limelight of Hollywood, relished the peace and quiet that the couple found in Yukon, Oklahoma. Susan remained by his side right up until he passed away, and their marriage was defined by unwavering devotion and mutual regard. If you want to know what Dale Robertson thought of his own Hollywood work, the people he admired, or the people he couldn't stand, he said it straight. Throughout his extensive career in film and television, Robertson encountered numerous actors. However, there was one particular man who, in his opinion, personified all the negative aspects of the entertainment industry. In the 1930s through the 1950s, that man was Robert Taylor, the dashing leading man. Her popularity made her one of MGM's most marketable stars. In both private conversations and honest interviews, Robertson was quite forthright when describing him that he was the one person I despised the most. More than just personal differences were at the root of Robertson's dislike. He saw it as a conflict of values. Robertson, who was born and brought up in Oklahoma with a strong work ethic, honesty, and independence, thought that an actor should be authentic in real life and on screen, that a good man isn't something an actor has to pretend to be. He would say time and time again. He is or isn't certain about it. As soon as it's captured on camera, viewers can tell it's not real. Robertson saw Robert Taylor as a prime example of the polar opposite. Robertson thought he was insincere and lacked the ruggedness that was crucial to the success of Hollywood's westerns and dramas, and he saw him as an artificial star who looked the part. Always on his mind was his public persona. The story, the truth, and even the damn character were of no concern to Robert Taylor, as Robertson once said. He was completely preoccupied with his appearance in the photo. Hair perfectly styled, chin slightly cocked, the spotlight illuminating his most attractive feature. That didn't seem like acting to me. Oh, how narcissistic. Robertson, who became famous for his portrayal of rugged, lawman-like cowboys and police officers, loathed what he perceived as Taylor's fixation on the Polish and glitz. Nonetheless, the disdain shared by the two men extended beyond the realm of work. The more Robertson spoke about his social interactions with Taylor, the more his dislike for her grew. People were beneath him. Someone who wasn't a part of his inner circle or studio pets was treated like they were beneath him, according to Robertson. That is something I have never supported. Absolutely no one. I was brought up to greet every man with a firm handshake, a direct gaze, and the utmost respect, regardless of his rank or status. Robert Taylor felt superior to everything else. Politics and loyalty also became a source of contention. Famously, Taylor had testified before the House Un-American Activities Committee during the turbulent post-war years of Hollywood, helping to identify co-workers who were believed to have communist sympathies. This was intolerable to Robertson, who placed a premium on loyalty. He abandoned his co-workers and those who had faith in him. Never in my life would I be able to respect that. Selling out a friend is worse than being blacklisted myself. Robert Taylor was unconcerned about it. They made it crystal clear what kind of man he was. The disparity between Taylor's public persona and Robertson's actual life was particularly irritating to Robertson. Robertson maintained that the public perception of him as a heroic patriot was all an act. Hollywood transformed him into someone he wasn't, Robertson remarked with a hint of bitterness. Everyone expected him to be the model of virtue, the kind of quiet, powerful man that women fantasized about and men aspired to be like. Unfortunately, I was aware of the reality. He was a coward who hid behind his studio contracts and good looks underneath it all. Robertson lived out his life in bitter resentment toward the other. Robertson would not budge from his harsh stance even after decades had passed since Taylor's death in 1969, that if you asked him if his opinion had changed over time, he'd just shake his head. Over time, you come to forgive some people. Perhaps they weren't so terrible after all. You think to yourself as you reflect on them. Nobody but him. The first impression I had of Robert Taylor was that he was horrible, and that impression was spot on. In any case, I was proven right by the passage of time. Such unfiltered evaluations were unusual in Hollywood's frequently balanced, politically charged environment. However, Robertson was unconcerned. Being a part of the Hollywood elite had never been his goal. I didn't enter this field with the intention of making friends in the studio cafeterias. This is what he came to do: tell tales, play actual men, and make a living. So be it if that caused some discomfort. However, if there was ever an ego I was willing to ruffle, it was Robert Taylor's. Robert Taylor embodied all that was dishonest, superficial, and untrustworthy in the film industry, in the eyes of Dale Robertson, who took great delight in being genuine, independent, and loyal. Despite the fact that Robertson became lifelong friends with numerous colleagues in the film industry, he never hesitated to name Taylor as the one man he could not and would not respect. I'll say it again because I've said it previously. An interview with Robertson came to the following conclusion: I really hated him more than anyone, and I never regretted feeling that way. No way, not even for a second. It was a tough decision, but Dale Robertson had to move to the San Diego area when his health started to fail in his twilight years. He had always loved his home in his hometown. His health was deteriorating so rapidly that this relocation was more than just a change of scenery, an ordeal that would symbolize the pinnacle of his extraordinary voyage. As his health deteriorated, San Diego, with its coastal air and closeness to cutting-edge medical facilities, became his final refuge, providing him with solace and treatment. During that time, the actor who had formerly personified unbridled energy and rugged independence on screen was secretly dealing with his deepest, most personal struggles away from the camera. Lung cancer and pneumonia took too much of his strength and will, and he died as a result. At Scripps Memorial Hospital in La Jolla, California, Robertson passed away on February 26, 2013, surrounded by the love of his family and the devotion of medical professionals. His age was 89 years. In addition to ending a protracted battle with illness, his death also brought an end to a legendary life story that had moved millions of fans. Those who knew and loved him will always remember him as a television star, Hollywood cowboy, and dignified human being. His impact on the world will be felt long after he passed away.